with removing, having that temporary fence removed.
Dr. Charles?
Yes.
Yes.
For 137. Okay, that's it.
That's it? Okay. Mr. Brady?
Good evening, Jim Brady, 987 Shady Beach Road, Elkton.
Good evening.
Good evening. I wish, Commissioner Gibbons, you were the last person to speak, because code enforcement is why I'm here. I sent each of you a letter, I carbon copied Mr. George, I sent it to the code enforcement officer. Have you received a letter from the code enforcement officer detailing issues with town buildings that have not been corrected? And by the looks on your faces, it's no. However, if you were to go to Blue Ball Road, the former Bayshore Oldsmobile dealership, which is the town of Elkton Public Works building, there are weeds this high, right in front of the building on the street. And your ordinance says if they're more than 12 inches high, you're in violation of your code. If you were to look at the building around the side of it, there are vines climbing up the side of the building. The same identical vines that pictures were taken of my building, and I received letters and calls and now a summons to go to court for violations of codes. If you were to go around this other side of the building, which is, you're looking at it, the Red Cross building on the left, and go down the side there, you have massive weeds growing up all over there too. You even have a weed this high, more than a foot, right at the corner of the building where the generator is, right here. Do you understand why I might be a little upset with code violation enforcement? Now, I'm asking for you guys to look at that, please. I'm asking for you guys to identify. Mr. Smith gets paid 40 hours a week, I assume he's a full-time employee, to find code violations. I would assume each of you have probably made it to the Public Works building. I'm sure Mr. George has made it to the Public Works building, but yet there's violations that aren't improved. They were there 3 weeks ago when I was here, and they were there last night. I have pictures on my cell phone if you'd like to see them, because I took pictures. I even took pictures of no rain gutter on the side of the building. That's what you're taking me to court for. Not having a downspout on the side of my building. You have a building without that too. So are you going to go to court with me? Mr. Wilson over here going to make a lot of extra money from the town, prosecuting people for not having downspouts? I would assume, Mr. Smith, I did it in 15 minutes, and I only targeted 2 buildings, the 2 I knew were owned by the town. But if you drive down Howard Street, almost every building has poison ivy going up the side of the building, as far as you can see. Have they all received violations? I doubt it. I've asked formally for that information under the Public Information Act. I call it the Sunshine Law. I'm not sure what it's called here. But I'd like to know in the last 3 years how many violators have been cited. I'd like to see that. Mr. Hicks, when he was code enforcement officer, sent me a letter because the Riverland Music Center sign was on the back of my building. They had closed and gone out of business. I mentioned 3 weeks ago the Renaissance restaurant sign's still there. It's still there today. I drove past it coming here. Have they received a violation? Have they been taken to court for not covering up their sign? If you're going to enforce the law, you have to enforce it for everybody. So the 5 of you should be in court right next to me for not cutting the grass at that building, because technically you own that building, because you are the mayor and commissioners. I would venture that probably there'll be some phone calls tomorrow to ensure that that building gets cleaned up. Because I'll guarantee you, I'll be back 2 weeks from now with more pictures if it isn't. And if I have to go to court and file a civil suit against the town, because I'm being sued by you civilly because of a downspout that was not accurately in place, for up to possibly 7 years in jail and $14,000 fine, you can understand my frustration. Second thing, I finally heard from the LGIT, Local Government Insurance Trust Fund. And I'll just read the very synopsis. Our responsibility is to pay those claims for which our member is legally liable. In this instance, the town of Elkton police officer was acting with immunity for performing a governmental act, namely removing an immediate hazard, taking a cord, a telephone or cable line, I'm not sure what it was, that was laying across North Street that you could look out your window and see, and tying it to my post on my porch. And he did it to remove an immediate hazard. Instead of calling Verizon or calling Comcast or whoever the cable company is, we conclude that you, the town of Elkton, nor its employee was negligent, and therefore we'll consider this matter closed. Guess what? I don't consider this matter closed. So I hope Mr. Wilson's on retainer, because I assume we'll be in court for this too. I haven't fixed it, and you can tell your code enforcement officer there's no downspout because it got ripped off when they pulled the post off the corner of the building. So I assume they'll get a letter for no downspout again. But I'm not fixing it until you guys step up to the plate. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.